It is 7 a.m. Your alarm goes off, same as every morning. You drag yourself to the kitchen, turn on the stove. Nothing. You try again. Click, click, click. Nothing. You check the cylinder. It is not empty. You filled it 4 days ago. Something is wrong. You grab your phone. The notifications are already piling up. You open the news, and you see it. Global petroleum supply network failure. All distribution halted. No timeline for restoration. You look out your window. The street is unusually quiet. No cars moving, no buses. A man is standing next to his car, staring at the engine like it personally betrayed him. And in a way, it did. Here is what I want you to think about right now. You cannot cook. You cannot drive. You cannot get to work. And it has been exactly 40 minutes since petroleum disappeared from the world. 40 minutes. We have not even reached breakfast yet. So what happens in 40 days? What happens in 40 weeks? Stay with me, because what I am about to show you is going to completely change how you see the world around you. Welcome to Iron Veil Theory, the channel where we take the questions that keep scientists up at night and make them impossible to ignore. If you're new here, subscribe now, because this series is only going to get more intense from here. Now, let's go back to that quiet street and follow this thing all the way to the end. Let's start where it hits you personally, your home. LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. It is literally petroleum in gaseous form compressed into that cylinder in your kitchen. The moment global petroleum distribution collapses, LPG production and delivery stops within hours, not days, hours. Because every step of making and delivering LPG requires petroleum. So picture day one. You cannot make tea. You cannot cook rice. You cannot boil water to make it safe. For one person, that is deeply uncomfortable. For a family with young children, that is a crisis. For a hospital trying to sterilize surgical equipment, that is a matter of life and death. And this is happening simultaneously in every home, every restaurant, every hospital, every factory on the planet, in a single morning. And now, imagine this happens in winter. Not just no cooking, no heating. Millions of homes heated by gas boilers go cold overnight. In countries like Russia, Kazakhstan, parts of Europe and North America, winter temperatures drop to -20, -30 degrees. Without heating, a home becomes dangerous within hours. Hypothermia does not wait. The elderly, the very young, the sick, they are the first to face a threat that has nothing to do with war or disaster, just cold, just the absence of a gas that used to flow silently through a pipe. So what do people do? They do what humans have always done when modern systems fail. They go back. Wood fires, coal, biomass, anything that burns. And here's where the second disaster quietly begins. Forests around every major city start disappearing. Parks, trees planted along roads, private gardens. Within weeks, deforestation accelerates faster than at any point in history. Not because people want to destroy nature, because they're cold, and cold people will burn anything. Right now, before any of this happens, invest in a small solar cooker or a manual rocket stove. They cost very little and cook food using sunlight or a handful of small sticks. Keep a 2-week supply of dry food that doesn't need cooking. Oats, nuts, dried fruit, canned goods. And if you live in a cold climate, know where your nearest community shelter or heated public building is. These 3 things cost almost nothing today. And in this scenario, they are everything. Zoom out now, from your kitchen to your city, to your country, to the planet. Every car on every road stopped. Every truck on every highway stopped. Every commercial aircraft on the ground. every cargo ship slowing to adrift in open ocean. In 72 hours, the global movement of goods and people has effectively ended. Nothing in human history has ever stopped the world this completely. Not wars, not pandemics, not natural disasters, nothing. Here is a fact that most people find genuinely shocking. Your local supermarket carries approximately 3 days of food. That is it. 3 days worth of everything on those shelves. The entire food retail system is built on trucks arriving every single day. Constant, uninterrupted delivery. No trucks means no delivery. Day 1, shelves get thinner. Day 2, panic buying clears what remains. Day 3, the supermarket is empty, and the next delivery is not coming. But here is the part that frightens emergency planners most. Ambulances run on petrol, fire trucks run on diesel, police vehicles run on petrol. Within 48 hours of petroleum disappearing, your city's entire emergency response infrastructure is paralyzed. A building catches fire, the fire truck cannot respond. Someone has a heart attack, the ambulance cannot reach them. A crime happens, police cannot patrol. This is not a prediction of chaos, this is just physics. No fuel means no movement, period. And on the global scale, 90% of everything traded between countries moves by ship. Ships run on bunker fuel, petroleum. Global trade stops within days. Every country is suddenly alone with whatever is inside its own borders. The country that makes your medicine cannot ship it to you. The country that grows your food cannot export it. The world that was built on interconnection becomes a collection of isolated islands overnight. Build a minimum 30-day food supply at home right now. It does not need to be complicated. Dry rice, lentils, canned fish, cooking oil, salt. Store water too, at least 15 liters per person. Know your neighbors, seriously. Communities that know each other share resources. Communities of strangers compete for them. And if you have a bicycle, keep it maintained. In a world with no fuel, a bicycle is a luxury vehicle. Here's where this story gets truly strange, because everything we have talked about so far, the cooking gas, the transport, that's the obvious part, the part everyone thinks of. But petroleum has done something far more invasive than power our vehicles. It has physically embedded itself inside almost every object in your life, and most people have absolutely no idea. I want you to stop and actually look around you for a moment. That water bottle on your desk, the casing on your phone, the synthetic fabric in the clothes you are wearing right now, the keyboard under your fingers, the chair you're sitting on, the pipes inside your walls bringing water to your tap, the wiring that carries electricity through your home, the insulation wrapping that wiring, all of it, petroleum derivatives. Plastic is made from petroleum, and plastic is quite literally everywhere. But here's the one that genuinely disturbs the medical community. Medicines, aspirin, antibiotics, antivirals, chemotherapy drugs, insulin for diabetics. The chemical synthesis of most modern pharmaceuticals requires petroleum-derived compounds at some stage of production. No petroleum means pharmaceutical factories slow down, then stop. The diabetic who takes insulin every day, the cancer patient 3 months into chemotherapy, the child who needs antibiotics for a serious infection, their crisis has nothing to do with cars or cooking gas. It comes quietly, through a supply chain they never thought about until it was gone. And now the one that affects every single person on Earth, regardless of where they live: fertilizers. Modern agriculture is built on synthetic nitrogen fertilizers. The process that creates them, called Haber-Bosch, requires natural gas, which is petroleum. Without synthetic fertilizers, global crop yields drop by 40 to 50% in the very first growing season. Not next decade, next harvest. Half the world's food production, gone. The asphalt on every road is petroleum-based. No new road surface can be laid. Existing roads crack and crumble with no way to repair them. Your synthetic clothes, polyester, nylon, lycra, gone. Shampoo, soap, cosmetics, detergents, petroleum-derived, gone. Pesticides that protect crops from insects, petroleum, gone. Without pesticides, insects attack the already reduced crops.
The domino effect does not stop. Each thing that falls knocks over 3 more. Start learning what petroleum actually is in. Read labels. Shift towards natural fiber clothing, cotton, wool, linen. They last longer anyway. If you take regular medication, speak to your doctor about maintaining a larger personal supply. Many medications can be stored safely for months. And learn one food growing skill right now. Even growing herbs on a windowsill teaches you something about how food actually comes from soil. That knowledge compounds over time.
Let me walk you through the food collapse in real time, because this is not abstract. This happens on a specific timeline. Hour 1, trucks stop. Supermarket deliveries end. Day 3, shelves empty. Panic buying complete. Week 2, fresh produce gone everywhere. Only preserved food remains. Month 1, the first growing season without full fertilizer supply begins. Farmers struggle. Month 3, harvest yields come in. They are catastrophically low. Month 6, the word famine begins appearing in government reports. Year 1, it is no longer a word in a report. It is the reality outside your window. Here is the number that puts everything into perspective. Earth right now supports 8 billion people. If we removed all petroleum-based agriculture tomorrow, the fertilizers, the pesticides, the fuel for farm machinery, the planet's farming capacity drops to supporting roughly 3 to 4 billion. That gap, that 4 billion person gap, that exists entirely because of petroleum. Petroleum is not just energy. Petroleum is the reason half the people alive today are alive. Let that land for a moment. And it is not equal, not even close. Dense cities with no farmland collapse fastest. They have millions of mouths and zero food production. Rural communities with active farms have a buffer. Countries with strong river systems and agricultural traditions have more options, but there is no country on Earth whose food system is truly petroleum-free. The question is not who gets hit. The question is who gets hit last and how prepared they were when it came. Learn to grow food, even a small amount. A balcony garden, a community plot, a few containers. The skill matters more than the quantity right now. Stock non-perishable food with genuine caloric density. Rice, lentils, dried beans, oats, enough for 90 days minimum. And find out if there is community farmland near you. Knowing where your city's food could come from in an emergency is one of the most useful pieces of information you can have. Now, let's add one more variable to this scenario. Let's say this happens in November, Northern Hemisphere heading into winter. Half the world suddenly faces a crisis that is not just about food and fuel, it is about temperature, and temperature is not patient. Tens of millions of homes across Europe, North America, Russia, Central Asia are heated by natural gas boilers. Natural gas is petroleum. When petroleum collapses, gas heating stops. The boiler goes cold. The radiators go cold. The house goes cold. In Moscow in January, outdoor temperatures reached -25 degrees. Without heating, the interior of a building drops dangerously within hours, not days, hours. The vulnerable die first, the elderly, newborns, the sick, and they die not from any dramatic catastrophe, they die from cold, quiet, invisible, unstoppable cold. So people move. Families pack what they can carry and walk south, toward warmer climates, toward any region where survival without feeding is possible. The largest human migration in recorded history is not driven by war or politics. It is driven by the simple fact that without petroleum, large parts of the northern world become uninhabitable in winter. Cities that took centuries to build are abandoned in weeks. Know how to heat a single small room without gas or electricity. A well-insulated small space retains body heat far longer than a large cold house.
Heavy thermal blankets, sleeping bags rated for low temperatures, and layered clothing can keep a person alive in surprisingly cold conditions. If you live in a cold climate, identify one room in your home you could seal and insulate as a survival space, and keep a small supply of candles or a safe indoor rated heat source. Heat is life in winter. Plan for it now. There is a moment in every major collapse when the social contract, the invisible agreement that makes civilization work, starts to fray. It does not happen dramatically. It does not look like a movie. It looks like a neighbor you have known for 10 years refusing to share information about where food is available. It looks like a queue at a distribution point turning angry. It looks like small decisions, thousands of them that make perfect individual sense and collectively destroy the community. Police cannot patrol without fuel. Courts cannot function without the infrastructure that supports them. Prisons face their own supply crises. The systems designed to maintain order were built for a petroleum-powered world. Without it, they operate at a fraction of their capacity. This does not mean instant chaos. It means a slow withdrawal of the safety net that most people never noticed was there, until it's not. Cities empty outward. People move toward food and warmth. Rural areas that once fed small populations are suddenly flooded with urban refugees. Resources stretch beyond breaking point. The infrastructure of small towns, water, waste, and housing was never designed for this. Tensions between those who were there and those who have arrived become the defining social conflict of the era. Build your community before you need it. Know your neighbors by name. Know their skills. Know what they have. A community that communicates and cooperates in a crisis is exponentially more likely to survive than a collection of isolated households. Consider joining or forming a local resilience group. Many cities already have them, and if a crisis comes, be the person who organizes, shares, and stabilizes. That person is always protected by the community they built. Currency stops working. Here's something nobody thinks about until it's happening. Money stops being useful very quickly in this scenario, not because the money disappears, but because what would you spend it on? The supermarket is empty. The petrol station has nothing to sell. Online shopping requires delivery trucks that aren't moving. Your bank balance means nothing if there is nothing available to buy. What has value in this world is what has always had value before petroleum made everything cheap and abundant. Food, clean water, medicine, warmth, a doctor who can treat you without modern equipment, a farmer who knows how to grow food manually, a mechanic who can make something work with what is available, an electrician who understands renewable energy systems. These people become the new wealthy, not because they chose wisely, but because what they.
And underneath the collapsing official economy, a new one forms almost immediately. Barter. I have rice, you have medicine, we trade. I have mechanical skills, you have land. We make an arrangement. This is not a primitive economy. This is the oldest economy, the one that existed for 10,000 years before petroleum arrived and convinced us that value could be stored in paper and numbers on screens. Think about what skills you have that would hold value without modern systems. Cooking, gardening, mechanical repair, medical knowledge, teaching children, building things, sewing. Any of these skills, developed even to an intermediate level, make you genuinely valuable in a community under stress. Also consider what physical goods have lasting barter value. Medicines, seeds, hand tools, salt, matches, water filters. These are worth far more than their cost today if a crisis ever comes. Not every country faces this equally. Countries with strong renewable energy infrastructure, hydro, nuclear, solar, wind, keep their electricity running even without petroleum. That is a transformative advantage. Electric vehicles still move.
Electric trains still run. Factories powered by clean energy still produce. Norway, Iceland, France, parts of Canada. Countries that built their energy systems for the long term find themselves suddenly, unexpectedly, the most powerful nations on Earth. Within every country, the same pattern emerges. Rural populations survive better, not because they are tougher or smarter, but because they are closer to the ground, literally. A farmer with seeds, land, and manual tools is the most important person in this new world. The skills that built civilization before petroleum are the skills that will rebuild it after. History does not move in one direction. Sometimes it circles back. And here is what the history of every collapse tells us. The people who thrive are not the ones who had the most money. They are the ones who had the most connections, the most skills, the most flexibility. The ones who could look at a broken world and see not what was gone, but what was still there, what could be grown, what could be fixed, what could be built again. Adaptability is not a personality trait. It is a survival skill. Now, the question underneath all of this: could we actually switch away from petroleum before the scenario becomes reality? The honest answer is we are already trying. Solar and wind energy are growing faster than any energy source in history. Electric vehicles are replacing combustion engines at record speed. Battery technology is improving every year. The direction is right. The question is whether the speed is enough. Because here is where the transition gets genuinely difficult. Electricity we can replace, cars we can replace, home heating we can replace, but fertilizers, we do not yet have a scalable petroleum-free way to produce them at global quantities. Aviation fuel, no electric aircraft exists that can fly long-haul commercially. Plastics, we are making progress, but the scale of replacement needed is enormous. Medicines, the chemistry is deeply complex. The transition is real, but there are gaps, and those gaps are where the risk lives. Scientists who study energy transitions generally agree on this. At current rates, we have perhaps 30 to 50 years of usable petroleum reserves, but long before physical depletion, prices will rise dramatically as supply tightens and demand continues. That price pressure will force the transition in ways that policy alone has not. The overnight collapse we described in this video, genuinely unlikely. A slow, grinding, increasingly painful transition over decades, that is already underway. It is just moving slowly enough that most people have not noticed it yet. Personally, you can be on the right side of this transition. Reduce your petroleum dependency deliberately and gradually. Consider an electric or hybrid vehicle for your next purchase. Look at solar panels if you own your home. Shift your diet slightly toward less processed, less packaged food. These are not political choices, they are resilience choices. The less you depend on petroleum, the less vulnerable you are to whatever this transition looks like when it arrives. Let's come back to that kitchen, that stove that would not light this morning. You understand now what that single silent click actually means. It is not just breakfast, it's the first domino, and behind it stands an unbroken chain reaching into every corner of your life. Your food, your medicine, your clothes, your roads, your warmth in winter, your ability to move, your community's ability to function, all of it connected to a resource that took 300 million years to form underground, and that we've been burning through in roughly 200 years. But here is what I want you to take away from this. Not fear, awareness. Build your food supply. Learn one food growing skill. Reduce your petroleum dependency where you can. Know your neighbors. Build your community. Develop skills that hold value beyond money. These are not doomsday preparations. These are the things every generation before ours considered basic common sense. We got comfortable. Comfortable is fine, but aware is better. Now, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment right now. Seriously, if petroleum disappeared tomorrow, what is the one thing in your daily life you think you would miss the most? Because the answers to that question tell you exactly where your dependency is, and that's the first step towards doing something about it. And if this video made you think, next time on What If, we are going somewhere that has never needed petroleum. The Amazon rainforest. 5.5 million square kilometers of the most complex ecosystem on Earth, home to 10% of all species that exist, and one of the most dangerous places a human being can find themselves lost. What actually lives in there, what it does to your body, and the exact steps that give you a real chance of making it out. That video is going to take you somewhere you have never been. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Like this video if it changed the way you see something today, and share it with someone you think needs to hear this. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay prepared.